What is going on, people? This video is just talking about being single and how being single is actually okay. Okay? It's not that bad. Okay? And I know a lot of people who are single, especially people who are, I guess I'll say, kind of getting older, I guess. Like maybe in their late 30s or 40s. I think what happens is a lot of people start questioning you. You know, why are you still single? Why are you not settled down? Why are you not with this person, that person? What are you waiting on? This type of stuff. Now, you might be in a relationship. You might not be in a relationship. You might just not be married. The scenarios vary. But being single is not that bad, okay? It's not such a terrible thing. And I think it's a society thing because we have this structure where you're supposed to be married, you're supposed to have children, you're supposed to have this. We have a certain structure that we kind of feel like everyone is supposed to be living by, you know. And I know people that don't have children at all, and they basically have people saying, "Well, why didn't you ever have children? When are you gonna have children?" And then when you start getting in your 40s or late 30s, people start saying, "Well, when are you gonna have children? You know, your biological clock is ticking." And I've always thought that was a terrible thing to do to a person because your life structure is based on where you're at in your life, and rather not you even decide to even go that route, because there's some people that don't want to have children. And I'm going to tell you this right now, there's nothing wrong with that, because there are a lot of people that are not made to be parents. They're not good parents, and they shouldn't be parents, but they had children anyway. And whether or not they intended to get pregnant or intended to have the children, a lot of them are not cut out for it. And they don't do very well. And they're just terrible parents. Okay, so I respect and love the fact that some people are saying, "I don't want to have children. That's not for me." It makes perfect sense to do that as opposed to having children that you just don't want to deal with. Because you know that deep inside you're not really somebody that wants to be a parent. But anyway, getting back to the subject at hand, I think what happens with people with being single is people are, when you get older and you're single, you know what happens? What I notice, people start settling for somebody. They settle. You know, they kind of force the relationship because they're so concerned about their age, and they're worried about being alone. They're worried about just the idea of being single and being alone at an older age. And this kind of makes people force themselves to settle for somebody who's there, you know. And this is a recipe for a miserable life, a miserable relationship, when you just settle and accept somebody who's there. Because I think people feel obligated to accept it because of their age. Well, I can't keep looking. I can't just say no, because if I don't accept this person, I'm going to be alone. And they end up with this person and they just don't make a good couple. They don't fit together. And a lot of these people become very they're in denial, basically. You know, they make an excuse for every terrible thing that the other person's doing or whatnot, because they've settled for this individual. Now, let me talk about being single again, okay? I had a marriage that didn't go the way I wanted it to. I'll tell you that much. I'm not going to get into the details, but I don't have animosity towards her or anybody else involved. But I'll just say It didn't go the way I wanted it to go. It didn't go the way I feel like it should have went. But anyway, being by yourself, being in a structure, and I had a lot of people help me out. I didn't have a lot of people help me, but my mother helped me out a lot to get myself, to kind of structure my situation with not being with this person anymore, and just kind of, getting my life in a comfortable position, and I've gotten to the point now where I feel very good about where I'm at. And being single is a building opportunity for yourself. Look at it like that. You can build yourself by being single, as opposed to relying on somebody else to build you, or relying on somebody else to validate you, relying on, just people to accept your status. Because I'm going to tell you this, a lot of people in a lot of different cultures, they don't accept or like when a person is single at an older age, like 30s or 40s. They don't think that's normal. They think it's not good for you. They think it's bad. And they think you shouldn't do it. Now, I'm not on here telling you to be single and stay single. Because if there's a wonderful individual that is there for you and you really desire and want to be with this person, you very well should do it. I'm not here endorsing being single as in you should be single, you shouldn't have anybody, or you should have somebody. I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that you should be doing either or, because I think that's to each individual's position to understand and learn and figure out. And I think you could be single for a while and then you can eventually be with somebody. I think giving yourself time to build yourself into somebody who is good for a relationship, good for a marriage, if you feel like in your mind you wish to have a marriage, you wish to have somebody. And I think any of us can honestly say we do want another person that's there with us who is wonderful and understanding, and somebody that you can love and enjoy. More than anything, enjoy your time being with. Of course you want that. I think you should want that. But I don't think you should feel sad or depressed or miserable because you don't have somebody. You're single. You're not in a relationship. You're not in a marriage. This is not as terrible as people think it is. Because I'm going to tell you this. I've lived in a house alone and, not having anybody here, it's not depressing at all. It's not sad. It's not miserable. And I know people say lonely. I don't know. I guess, I don't feel lonely because I go places. I do things. I have people in my life. I don't have anybody living in this house. My daughter's here sometimes, but it's not like when I come home, there's always somebody here or there's always somebody coming. This is not a miserable situation. It's not a sad situation. It is actually, it's not what I thought. It's way better than I thought it would be. I'll tell you that. And I'm going to tell you this. I've been pretty happy as a single person. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't want anybody. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means I have not been a down person. I have not been a sad person. I was down for a while. I was sad for a while when my situation, my marital situation was falling apart. I was pretty depressed and sad for a while, but I've grown out of that and I feel good now, and there's no animosity or anger towards her. I get along fine with her and I don't dislike her, and that's what it is. But my main point is, if you're single, try to use that as an opportunity to build yourself and try to enjoy and embrace having this time to yourself, having this time to enjoy the things that single people can do, And I'm going to tell you, it's not like I'm not the type of person who likes to go out and party and meet a bunch of people. I don't care about stuff like that. For me, it's just about having time alone in a way where it's like you're free to not be concerned about satisfying somebody or making somebody accept or accept what you're doing, or just you're worry free of disappointing and doing something to somebody where you disagree or whatnot. Because I'm gonna tell you this, to take your time even at a later age. I've seen somebody get married at 61 years old. Now, I'm not saying that's the ideal situation, but I'm saying it was better for that person to take that time to realize and recognize that they're with somebody that they really enjoy and really want to be with, as opposed to just, oh my gosh, I'm getting older, I gotta get married. She's right here, we need to get married. Because our time is running out, we need to get married. And this person might be horrible for you. This person might not. This is a miserable situation to be in. It's way worse than being single. I can tell you that right now. And I never did that, but I'm just saying, I'm sure that that's the case. I see people in that situation, and don't allow yourself to feel pressured to settle for somebody or be in a marriage or get in a marriage or get in a relationship. Never. If it does not feel right completely, regardless of your age, I don't care if you're 18, 16, I don't care if you're 65. If it doesn't quite feel right, do not settle. Don't do it. Don't say, well, you know what, I got to do this because I'm getting up there in age and I don't really have time to be, messing around and trying to find somebody. Being single is not that horrible. It's not. It's not as horrible. It can be horrible if you make it horrible, if you allow yourself to, look at the status of it as opposed to the whole single environment itself, because it's not horrible. It's not. It doesn't have to be. I guess it is for some people because they allow themselves to feel down and out because somebody doesn't want them or somebody's not with them or they don't have somebody. But I'm trying to tell you, it's not horrible, man. I have not been sad being by myself in a house. I have not. I've been fine with it. And I'm surprised in how good it has actually felt. Now, when I say it feels good, I'm not saying it's better to be like this than to be with anybody. I'm not saying that because, there's wonderful people out there that I could be happy with, I'm sure. But there's no pressure. And I'm not young. I'm 44 years old. I'm not like somebody who's like very young. I'm at college age or whatever. I'm sure you could tell by looking at me that I'm not that young. But I'm just saying, I don't feel pressure. I feel like, it's like, it's not as bad as some people think it is. And I think there's people that have only known the life of being married, being with somebody. They got married young and now they're older. And they're looking at people like me and they're saying, oh, you can't be alone. You got to have somebody. You got to do this, that. Okay, maybe it's good to have that, but you don't have to have it. You don't need to force it. And you need to, more than anything in the world, if you get somebody, you need to make sure it is somebody that is a very good fit for you. You got to make sure that it's somebody that you can get along with well, somebody that you can enjoy your time with. Because as a guy my age, 50 is not that far away from me, honestly. I'm 44. It's not, 6 years is not a very long time. It's a very short time. I'll be 50 in no time, and it's like, if I'm with somebody, I want to enjoy, get along, have fun, and enjoy the life with this person. But if I was to be out here saying, oh my gosh, I really got to get somebody, and then you start forcing things to happen, you're going to be in a miserable situation. I'm telling you that right now. Because like I said about my situation with my marriage, it's like we don't dislike each other. We don't have animosity, but the thing, it fell apart and some things happened and it didn't work. But, you know, I honestly don't really know where she's at when it comes to dating. I'm not really asking her any of those questions, but I will tell you this. It's not horrible. And do not ever feel pressured or obligated to get into a relationship. But don't hesitate to get in if this person makes you feel good, if this person feels right for you. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm not telling anybody to avoid being in relationships and just stay single. I'm not saying that at all. If there's somebody there and it feels good to be with that person and it makes sense and this person feels good being with you and it's a mutual kind of like you love being with each other, you should definitely give that a try. But don't allow yourself to buy into this pressure of being with somebody. I need to be with somebody. I gotta have somebody. I'm getting older. I don't have time. I can't be alone. Don't allow yourself to get into that mindset, and do not ever settle. Don't ever settle. Don't settle. And what that means is you're just taking somebody who's there because you feel like you need to have someone. Because that's going to be a miserable situation, and that's going to be way worse than being single. Be with somebody if it feels good to be with that person, and that person feels good being with you, and they really enjoy being with you, and they really want to be with you, and you really feel the same way about them. Go ahead and do it. But never buy into the pressure of being in a relationship or being married, because it's not worth it. You have to take your time to figure out what's right and when it's right and who is it right with. Trust me, it'll be worth it. In the end, it's going to be worth it, regardless of your age, regardless of anything. But the right person in the right time is the very biggest key. And if you are single, it's not terrible. It's not that bad.